we are. Whoop. Hey.
Are we there?
Yeah, exactly. Little glitches in the system. You never know. Facebook. All right. Hey, everybody. This is the Jimmy Doane Show. We are live right now. It is 4 o'clock New York time. We are on the East Coast in the studio. I'm here with Dr. Doane. You can find us around the web at Jimmy Doane, D-O-A-N-E. You got to put the Jimmy in there. Find us in audio format, or you can find us on Twitter and YouTube in video format. And today is the 24th day of June, 2020. What is happening?
Lots of stuff.
Oh, yeah?
Well, it's almost all the same stuff. Oh, I see.
Yeah, exactly.
Gonna do
Here's a little Merc to bring us in here.
Yeah, good. Great.
This is my favorite video of the week here.
What is this guy's doing his barbecue?
That's what it looks like. I mean, I'm guessing, I'm hoping that there's just some dry ice in that thing.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't want to get hit in the face with a coal or anything.
No. that could hurt. Well,
Right
okay.
in the eye.
Okay, what we're doing here, of course, once again, is the coronavirus.
What?
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
Are you kidding me?
Well, I was on the side when it sort of semi-started in January, February, March, or whatever. I thought it would peter out pretty quick. I thought it would go away. Basically.
Well, we're basically where we thought we would be. It's been the last spike has been the last few days, and so we'll see where this leads. But if this spike drops off, then we're good. I mean, then we're
well. Unfortunately, let me just tell you the tyrants of various cities, including our town,
yeah, I know,
have decided that this spike, although there have been no hospitalizations, in the list, and we had a spike in the number of people that tested positive around here, but no hospitalizations, and so they decided to reclamp down on face mask wearing.
Yeah, I know, it's everywhere.
And, well, what's interesting is I was reading a thing about the county, which includes the city, of course, has decided to do this, and they're saying this is the second wave, and what's
This is not the second wave. This is the reaction to the shutdown.
Well, I think you're right about that. I honestly believe that. I think that everybody's been, hiding in hibernation basically, and you come out and now what do you expect?
That's where the whole point was to flatten the curve.
Yeah.
Everybody should be fully prepared by now, and then you're supposed to go back out and do life. And the curve now should be flattened because we should have plenty of beds,
got plenty of beds.
Everything.
And as I say, here in our town, we've had no net hospitalizations for a while, even though I think they found the spike here is like 13 or 15 or 20 or something like that in our town.
Yeah, in the dozens. If you follow Jeff Childers, he's got a great little chart
he
on
does.
it all. But the chart is discrepant from what you see in the news in other places.
Well, this brings up an article here that I wanted to make.
Go ahead.
It says the media are begging for a second wave.
Oh, well, yeah. Well,
Remember, now, if it bleeds, it leads, and if it's fear, then that leads. So the media are turning out countless alarmist stories every day on the threat of COVID-19 and the dangers of societal reopening. Risk of a new lockdown rises with fear of a second COVID wave, writes Reuters. Top-line case counts overlook where outbreaks are occurring. Nearly half of COVID deaths, of course, have occurred in nursing homes and assisted living facilities, which, is...
Yeah, look, Florida, we should have been wiped out. It should have been a bloodbath here if this thing was rampant and everybody... I mean, we have so many nursing homes and retirement facilities. We have a whole area, the village is dedicated to retirees.
Right, and they haven't actually had much down there at all.
No, they haven't. They had drive-through testing and stuff like that. I mean, this
is you're not allowed to move in there unless you're over 55.
Exactly.
And no kids are allowed or anything, no visitors even.
And it's miles and miles.
Oh, yeah, no, it's huge.
Yeah.
And of course, it's interesting because everybody down there drives a golf cart.
Sure.
I mean, they have like thousands of golf carts.
Yeah, and the little golf roads all through the place.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's awesome.
But yeah, we have had, historically, we have always been retirements, the state of Arizona has
God's
had some
waiting
too.
room or whatever.
Yeah, right, that's right. That's right.
But we should have been wiped out, and apparently we are in the Midland or in the low end of the other states.
Right.
In terms
Oh,
of
yeah.
the
we
effects.
are in the low end.
So now I think we've had most of our nursing home people have been tested at this point.
Yeah.
And the personnel who work around them. So I get tested like bi-weekly at this point. So we'll see, but we'll keep going. I got a couple things to say about it for sure.
Okay. Well, anyway, this is the media are saying that the second wave is now upon us. They're calling it the second wave.
Well, it's definitely not the second wave.
I agree.
I'm just saying, the second, for everybody who doesn't know, the second wave in the 1918 flu was because of a big mutation in the flu. And when it came back across the seas after having been over there and infected millions of people, it came back and it was totally different, or different enough to be 10 times as deadly. And that was the second wave. Now, we all were expecting a second wave from the release. The whole point, flatten the curve. I mean, that's the way it was supposed to go, but... and they're not going to let it happen, apparently. So,
well, it says here virus cases surged back to where they were at the peak of the outbreak, as 5 states hit record COVID numbers. While early hotspots like New York and New Jersey have seen steadily cases decrease, which is interesting.
That's because it's run through the population.
Right, it's run through the population, right. And that virus has been now in the South and the West. Several states on Tuesday set single-day records, including Arizona, California, Mississippi, Nevada, and Texas. Texas Governor Greg Abbott pleaded with residents to stay at home as they saw 5,000 cases or something.
Pleaded? I thought he ordered them to stay.
I think I don't know. This
ordered
says
and pleaded.
This says he pleaded,
right.
But I read another thing that said he ordered them to stay home, which is, and of course here. The mask, we haven't been ordered to stay home, but they still have the distancing and all that stuff. But they've turned the enforcement over to, I think, to codes enforcement, who actually have no real enforcement powers. They can't close the store down or anything like that.
Well, they can give you a ticket.
I think they can give you a ticket.
It's $125 for the first offense, $250 for the second, $500 for the third, plus a court appearance.
Really?
Yeah, in Alachua County.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wait, now, so how do they know that? I mean, well,
they walk up to you, you're not wearing a mask, they write you a ticket for $125.
Of course, now you're not supposed to be wearing a mask in the stores.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're out in the street,
yeah,
you're fine.
Right, in Alachua County. Now, apparently in Texas, they're not supposed to be outside, or even outside at all. The thing I read, you can't believe any damn thing you read these days.
No.
And then the other thing was apparently it's in Washington. It's the same thing.
Washington State.
Yeah.
Yeah, Washington State to require face masks after the county runs out of hospital beds. After a county. A county in Washington State has run out of hospital beds because of the recent spike, and Jay Inslee, the governor, has said the entire state is going to take a more aggressive approach in handling the pandemic. Everyone in the state, minus a few exceptions, will have to now wear a face mask and will be charged with a misdemeanor crime if they fail to do so.
Right.
In a Tuesday press conference, Inslee said they're experiencing an uptick in COVID-19 activity, and to stop it, we need to remain vigilant and diligent and resourceful. Number of people that one person affects is now going up. Every coronavirus infected individual is potentially infecting 3 people. So now the mandatory misdemeanor, the whole deal. Now here, if they write you a ticket, that's just that's like a fine or something. That's like a parking ticket.
Yeah, for the first 2.
Yeah.
And then the third one, though, you have a court appearance.
Yeah.
So in the $500, that's probably a second-degree misdemeanor. They probably tried to, although code enforcement can't deal with that. So I don't know how they... Look,
they can't put you in cuffs.
Bullshit. Legally speaking, it's bullshit. It's all bullshit.
Yeah.
They're just making shit up, and they're just doing whatever they think they can do, and they're getting away with it because the people are conditioned at this point to believe that they can do whatever they want. If they want to tell you can stay in your homes, that they have the power. Any municipality, any government official apparently can just wave their hand and you have to stay in your home.
The force.
That's it. I mean, it's shocking from a legal perspective. But I've known this for a while, that you're not actually free here.
No, right.
There's just an illusion of freedom.
Well, there's quite a bit. Not only that, it turns out that free speech has also taken a big hit.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, for example, you were talking about this enforcement. Trump came out and said he wanted to enforce the no-go zone in he didn't want them to establish a no-go zone in D.C.
Right.
And he was going to break it up using force.
Okay.
And Twitter censored him for that.
Yes.
I mean, they put a notice on there. The government is using force against you when you're rioting. Of course, they've said top men have come out and said that the riots have not promoted any of the spread of the disease.
Yeah.
And if you believe that, well, then...
Again, it's... I like to say everybody's, it's like assholes. Everybody's got one. Opinions are like assholes.
Well, I mean, that's just, flies in the face of every other piece of information that they're telling us.
Yeah. New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, because they've been coming down a little bit, I guess, they've ordered quarantine for visitors from other states with high numbers, Florida being one of them.
Right.
So in other words, if you drive to Florida, if you flee Florida and go to New York, Connecticut, or New Jersey, they look at your license plate and somehow, I don't know what they do exactly, but you're supposed to quarantine for 14 days.
Well, they pull you over and they ask you where you're going, what you're doing, and all that kind of stuff.
And then you say, I'm going to go visit...
you say, I'm going to the riots. Is what you say.
Yeah, I'm going to the riots. Yeah.
I'd say,
what you say?
I'm going to protest.
That's
Get
right.
out of my way.
Get out of my way. That's right.
That's what you should say every place you're going these days.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing, you're going to do a race protest somewhere, because
That's right.
then they'll just be like, oh, okay. Especially if you're black. Did you see that the one place in Washington had a note the blacks didn't have to wear the masks?
No.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
In Washington State? Or?
Yeah. There's a county there with 10% population of black, and they said for facial recognition purposes, or whatever, for your own safety.
For your own safety, right?
Right. If you're black, you don't have to wear a mask.
It's stunning.
Yeah.
It's racist.
Well, I mean, no. What? You mean a decision a law based on somebody's skin color? That's not racist.
Well, you kind of wonder if you if you have the one drop of blood.
Oh yeah, identify.
Yeah, identify.
Identify.
That's right. Identify.
I mean,
you can't tell. I'm black.
Part Irish, which that's
The black Irish. You're right. Okay. Well.
So
yeah, good. I'm black.
Mm-hmm.
And
exactly. Well, I don't know how it's going to play out, but I mean, interesting.
Well, Cuomo said the police will be stopping cars with out-of-state plates. Mm-hmm. He says that violators may face a judicial order, and mandatory quarantine along with fines. He also said hotel employees should be questioning guests about their quarantine. That's right.
I noticed you left for breakfast this morning.
Yeah, I mean, just...
Do we have to call the authorities on you?
Right, that's it. I just, you see him taking out their little notepad,
Exactly. I mean, seriously. I tell you what I did. I got wrapped up in Netflix last night and I watched V again.
Oh, did you? Okay.
And I mean,
V for Vendetta.
Yeah, and if you want to be scared about this whole thing, go watch V, because it's like, oh, okay. I mean, it's a fantastic movie on so many levels.
Yeah, it is.
And it's sort of apropos.
Right. Well, it is interesting because that guy, the head of the government type guy that appears on the screens. Mm-hmm. I think that's the one that that guy was the one they used in the Apple ad of 1984.
Oh yeah.
You remember that screen?
Yeah.
And
that's right.
What a great ad that was, shown one time during the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, I was 10. I didn't get it. Well, but everybody else did, obviously.
I did. Well, I was
today. They probably wouldn't get it. They'd be like, "Oh, that's so."
Yeah. No, I mean, what a famous ad. Really, really great ad. Anyway, but they had, as I say, the only thing I don't think it's a spoiler alert, but it does have kind of a Hollywood ending. So.
Oh, what V?
V.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
but it's a great ending.
It is. But it is interesting for people. You can read a little history, and if you know what Guy Fawkes Day is,
right?
And it's one of those things that you probably should know, but even though it's the Brits,
the 5th of November.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so another thing about this whole episode, Italy. Apparently, I saw an article this week that they're out of the woods.
Out of the woods, okay.
We don't know. I mean, like I said, what can you believe?
No.
But after a few days of either countervailing or reinforcing stories, we should know.
Yeah.
And we showed the chart from Sweden last
Right.
week. There's an advantage to decentralized approach, it turns out.
Yeah.
And that is, some people try the right thing, and then everybody else gets to emulate them.
Okay.
And that is what we should be doing here in the States. Obviously, the States should be doing their own thing, and I guess they are.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, we had 5 spikes in states.
In
well,
states,
that's
right.
10%.
Yeah.
Which means 90%.
Well, except that 10% of the states, but certainly not 10% of the people.
No.
I think what were they? Were Alabama, Arkansas, Arizona, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Washington, Utah, and Texas is what it says here. No, that's from
5,
New York. That's
yeah.
New York. I forget what the other. No, it's back on the.
Yeah,
page.
well, you said. I mean, Texas has got a lot of people.
Yeah, Texas does.
The other states didn't really. Obviously,
Nevada.
no California, no New York,
Right.
Not Florida.
Right.
Those are the big population centers. There's a few others, but yeah. So okay. So we'll see. But I fingers crossed, the whole thing still peters out in a week or two, because the new hospitalizations in our state, median age of 35.
Right.
It's got to be the people who've been out partying, going to the beach, going to the protests. That's got to be what it is.
Yeah, because when you say the median age, what you know is that half the people are less than that, and they're 19, 20, 23 or something.
Yeah, although when you, I'm counting on the reporter to get that word right.
Oh, right. Okay. Instead of average.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, median is different from average.
For
that's
the mean,
for sure.
and who knows specifically, but what I would suggest is everybody keep double checking whatever stats they see, because you can't trust anybody's stats at this point.
No, you really can't. But as I say, the tyrants, our local commissars, are the state commissars and the feds are all taking advantage of this confusion.
Well, they're
just to go ahead and ramp up their the control.
Well, sure. Well, I mean, look, I as skeptical as I am of the government, I don't think that they're doing it just to take control. I think they're doing it because they think they already have control. They think that they're in charge, and that what they say goes, and that it's a free country unless we tell you to do something. And so that's what they're doing, and they're exercising their authority, and nobody has been suing the crap out of them, or at least not enough people, to stop it. And we'll see if they get away with the second wave. I mean, now you're talking about people whose businesses are in serious jeopardy.
Oh, I saw one here that the place downtown here.
The Swamp.
The Swamp. Well, that's been for a while.
Okay.
Now that land was sort of conditioned for student housing, and so they sold it. And apparently the Swamp is going to open up in that building.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, something like that. What's to say later, but right now. But the other one is the High Dive. I think is going out of business.
Oh, well, yeah. Oh, that's bad. That's a comedy club.
Well, is it a comedy club?
Yeah,
the High Dive?
that's where I performed there. You filmed me there one time.
Okay, right. Well, no, didn't that where Eric had his Eric's thing? Yeah.
Yeah. Now I know Matt's over there, doing whatever he can do to keep it going, and they've been trying to do takeout beer and that kind of stuff. I mean, that place has been 10 different things over the years as well. It's kind of in a bad spot.
It is.
But it's a good venue. Look, like we've been saying, your second favorite place is going to close.
Okay.
And now the question is how bad are they going to fight for it?
Yeah.
Are they going to sue people? Are they going to sue the city? Are they going to sue the state, the county, whoever, to try to enforce their right to operate a business? Look, this whole thing, the people who are pro-mask and are telling you, put your damn mask off, or you're
little enough to ask,
you're an asshole, or whatever it is. It's not about that. It's not about your health, okay? It's about freedom. That's what it's about. And you can either count on the people to act appropriately, or you can try to force them to do that. And we live in a society where we trust everybody to act appropriately, and that's just where we live. And you can change that if you want. I mean, we can go to a dictatorial system if you want, where everybody has to register. I don't know if people notice, but if you've got a phone, you have your phone, a new app has been added to your phone, or a half of an app, I should say. There's a COVID tracking app that you can find.
Yeah, on your smartphone, you mean?
On your smartphone,
yeah.
That's right. If you have a smartphone, if you go to, settings, and then private, and then health, in your iPhone, you will see a COVID tracker on there.
Right, and you can turn it off.
Right. Well, you have to download the app to
Right,
activate it or whatever. But the point is that that's one step away.
Yeah.
One step away from them saying, no, you have to have the app, and we're going to track you, and you're going to go, and that's just what it is. And the problem with that, I mean, people don't understand how sloppy the enforcement of this is going to get if they try to enforce it, and you're going to people chucked into jail. It's just going to be a horrifying mess, and this is all. It's just trickling down from the concept of control over the people, and we just can't have that kind of a system. It totally doesn't mesh with our American system.
Well, one of the things that is interesting, if you read, is it Friedrich von Hayek or something, or whichever one, where the other Nobel Prize guy, a little skinny book called Socialism, or there's another one called Bureaucracy, I think. But anyway, it talks about once you start down this trail, you end up with total control.
Henry Hazlitt, maybe?
No, it wasn't Hazlitt. That was
Okay.
he had another one. He had another one called Economics in One Lesson.
Yeah.
He's written others, but no, it was either Friedrich von Hayek or
Von Mises.
or von Mises. It might have been von Mises, I think it was. And there was a thin book called Socialism, and one called. And that was the one that showed how socialism, once you start the control and everything
Yeah.
like that, it has to get total control, as we've seen in Venezuela.
Right. And it goes very fast, and it's like if they can tell you that you have to wear a mask, and they can fine you and such, then it's right on the precipice. It's like they can tell you to wear a MAGA hat or something. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. And people say, oh, no, you can't. It doesn't have anything to do with health. Well, give them an excuse, like one.
Well,
excuse.
here in Florida, you're the sun. You need to have a hat on so you don't get whatever. What's interesting is to me is the. Did I just lose my train of thought? Great.
Oh, sorry.
No, it'll come back.
Yeah. It's just, to me, you have to look. And here's the bottom line on this entire analysis. If you're vulnerable, protect yourself. Mm-hmm. That's what you have to do. You can't rely on your leaders, on your rulers, to force everybody else to protect you. You have to protect yourself. And it's unfortunate if you're vulnerable and you can't leave your house. That sucks. Find another way. But to imagine that your government can force everybody else to stay home so that you can go out, or force everybody else to wear certain gear so that you can go out, that's not America anymore.
Yeah.
And we'll see how far down the path we go.
Yeah. Well, as I say, once you start down that path, it's been pretty well proven. It has to do with, as I say, with bureaucracy. So the same way, one of the books that I love and people should read is humor. It's tongue in cheek. Is C. Northcote Parkinson's book on his little pamphlet on
The law.
The law, right? By C. Northcote Parkinson. So that'll be interesting. Okay. Good news and bad news.
Okay.
Really, a lot of fun. Guess who won her primary?
Oh, AOC.
Going away.
Well, with like 10% of the voters voting or something.
Is that right?
Yes. Out of 600,000 people, 28,000 voted, or something. 5%.
She's had 70% of them, or something.
Yeah, well, she crushed it.
She crushed it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, socialism is alive and well in New York, apparently.
Apparently in that area, yeah.
Yeah, or at least they're motivated to go out and try to get at least those 12,000 or however many people. Like I said, I read 28,000 people voted out of 600,000.
Really? That seems pretty low.
It does seem. It seems super light. Again, you can't believe any damn thing you read.
Yeah.
So who the hell knows? But apparently she won. So congratulations.
Yeah.
And we get to look at her for another couple of years.
Yeah. Well, 2 years at a time.
Unless she runs for Senate. Did you see where Trump said if she were to run for Schumer's spot and get it, that it would? Trump said it would be an improvement.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
well, of course, at that point she would not be the minority leader. Just by running for Schumer.
Oh, right, yeah, no.
They have a new vote.
Sure.
It's the next person in line.
Yeah, no, but she'd be a senator from New York.
She'd be a senator from New York.
I think she should go for it.
I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
Now, there's no age limit on senators?
25 maybe. She's over it. If there,
Yeah.
if there's an age limit, it's 25.
Okay, it's 35 for president.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, yeah.
All right. Well, that's
Yeah.
What?
She's over it. There's a 30 in there somewhere too. There's a 35, a 30, and a 20.
she's going to be over 30
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
right away.
She's over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at any rate, the progressive freshman lawmaker Ocasio-Cortez, who became the youngest woman ever to serve in Congress in 2018, has brought a huge campaign war chest and a national profile to her bid for a second term, encompassing part of her district is the Bronx and Queens, and she won of the people that voted. She won 70%. So she must be, I mean, this is a vindication of everything that she's thinking about.
Well, sure, she won.
I know, I think it's. To me, I expect that she will be even more outspoken.
Absolutely.
This is, she has been.
Now you got
because she had the guy that was running against her had some serious support.
Yeah, well, apparently
He was like a conservative guy. I mean, he.
I thought it was a girl, but whatever.
Well, it says Michelle Caruso Cabrera,
Yeah.
a former anchor for CNBC. Oh, okay, is that right? Mm-hmm. Okay, then. Well, whatever. Okay. So, but that apparently that was there was a lot of people that came in to support her, but no good.
Well, yeah. Well, look, she's got 7 million Twitter followers. I mean, she's super popular. She's good looking.
Yeah.
She, whatever you want to say about what her ideas are, she says it with a smile. She believes in what she says.
She totally does.
And
she is articulate.
Oh yeah, well,
she's not like Biden.
What do you mean articulate?
Yeah, right. Racist.
What are you trying to say? Yeah, well, exactly. Look, so the genuineness alone. I mean, that's a fantastic asset to have.
Yeah, it is.
As a politician.
Yeah.
So we'll see, though. I mean, therethere's the counterattack. There's a fake thing going around the Twitter right now where it says that she called for I don't know. I say fake. Who knows if the fake notice was fake too? But apparently, according to the original tweet, she had said we need to keep the shutdown on even after COVID in order to get Trump out, even if it costs us some jobs and some businesses. But it's registered as flaming hot.
Well, that could, like you say. Yeah, right. Well, that's that might have been a cartoon.
It's too good.
It might have been from Babylon Bee or something.
Right. Exactly.
Who knows?
But we'll see.
Okay, moving on to China.
Okay.
Unless you have something to do with the.
I had one other thing on AOC, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. I'll get back to it.
Okay, China's.
I want to say, hey, Uncle Bill, and hey to Scott. Glad you have y'all with us.
Okay, good. China's big surprise.
Okay.
They've been working on an EMP, and it turns out that if they were to blow an EMP, which is an electromagnetic pulsing device, over the
electrical grid.
Well, no, not well that too, but mostly over the carrier group in the South China Sea.
Oh.
And it would wipe out all the electronics. I mean, because it's all electronic, and it would just, the whole fleet out there would go dead. Yeah, go dead.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about the electronics in these days in our new warships that we've got, I mean, it's all electronics. I mean, it even got to the point now where I saw where there was some new destroyer. When you look at it, it doesn't look anything like a destroyer. It's like a bulky, I don't know, something, whatever. Now, the only saving grace in that, of course, is it would be kind of stupid because we have submarines that would not be affected by the EMP.
Would it go through water? Probably not to any depth.
Salt water?
Yeah, probably not.
It might kind of distill some water there. No, I think it'd be no go. It would be because what it would be, the EMP would certainly, as far as the sub was concerned, if it went through the water, it would do like a lightning strike on airplanes. Mm-hmm. It goes around.
Yeah, exactly.
It goes around it. I mean, that's the lightning hits airplanes all the time. And it just, you don't realize that the potential difference between the top of the airplane and the bottom, no matter how big it is maybe a couple of hundred volts. Even though the lightning strike might be 1 million, but that's from way up there to way down there. You know, if it's 5 mile strike of lightning might be a couple of million, but over the span of this much, it's not much at all. So anyway, that's the deal. It goes around.
Yeah. Well,
it's kind of like think about it. It's kind of like when Tesla used to do the thing, and he would you know
stand
there right, and just people don't realize that that the way electricity works is the higher the frequency, the more it travels on the surface, which is why you can actually go near a radio station and not get electrocuted, even though it's pumping out 50,000 watts. But it's at a high frequency.
Whatever voodoo you're speaking of.
Oh, okay. Sorry. All right. No, it's a lot different if you can get zapped pretty nasty with your house current because it's only 60 hertz, 60 cycles. Okay, forget
what he said.
Yeah, what he said. Okay, moving on.
Look, it doesn't surprise me. If we ever have another hot war, it's going to be way different.
Yeah.
Because you have stuff like that. You have the hypersonic missile capacity these days. I mean, nothing's stopping a hypersonic missile. 7 times the speed of sound. There goes your aircraft carrier. Exactly. Well, no, you're not even hit with the 50 cal. You're not even getting a shot off. Is the thing, because it's coming in at 3,000 miles an hour or something.
Yeah.
I mean, by the time you see it, I mean, maybe the computer could target it or something.
Yeah, and of course, one of the things that they have got, I don't know if you notice on those ships out there now, they've got those Gatling guns.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And those Gatling guns put out 7,000 rounds a second or a minute.
I know,
or something. It's just stunning, and it's all depleted uranium and everything. And we're talking about when you see these things, there's like, I don't know how many. There's got to be 100,000 bullets in these domes.
Yeah.
And it goes out in and this thing when it's coming in, it's not going to be able to change direction very much.
No.
So I mean I would say that they might be able to take one out.
They might. Yeah, that's true.
Because the computer would, even at 3,000 miles an hour, I don't know what that is, how many feet per second that is, but the fact is that it would, if it detected it, 10 miles away, it's going to be a couple of seconds before it gets there, even at that speed.
Yeah.
And the gun's going to be firing like crazy.
Yeah.
So, but that's one of those things. We have, I thought it was interesting that...
to do the EMP first and then take out that
Right,
gun.
exactly. That's right. What I thought was interesting, speaking of war, I saw where, Scott Adams referenced one of our favorite original Star Treks.
Oh, yeah, he did, yeah.
It was, and it was interesting because he sort of got it pretty well right, but it was interesting. Maybe he went to see it, but I mean, that was the one where the two
societies were at war,
and what they decided to do was let their computers fight it out. And of course, the Enterprise was up there and got caught in one of the raids
in the simulation.
And the simulation, right? And so they were saying, well, you got to send your people down here to vaporize,
right,
in our vaporizing thingies. And but it was interesting that had been going on for years and years and years, according to the story. And they had found out that they could still build up their civilization, have all the good stuff in there. But the sacrifice was that you had an odds-on thing of walking into a disintegration chamber. Yeah. So anyway, I thought it was interesting that was one of his favorites. So I thought that's interesting.
Yeah, well, the warfare thing, and then there was a new. We showed the robot from a couple of weeks ago on that robot on wheels. I mean, soldiers there. But did you ever see Battlestar Galactica, the new one?
No.
So the new one is based on the theory that the computers got too smart and took over things, and
Skynet.
Well, yeah, exactly, and so what they did is, and it's kind of stupid, but they go back to analog technology on all their ships,
okay,
and everything. So you got a spaceship that's run with like levers and stuff,
relays.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, it's like okay, but. The point is that that's how they defeated the high tech, and it'll be interesting to see if the United States produces any old timey battleships with the I would get this thing around this way and target it in with my eye and that kind of stuff, so that it can't be susceptible to any EMP.
Well, the
Guess we'll find
Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria.
There you go. That's it. Shoot the arrows.
That's it. There you go. We got them wooden ships. You know the Swedish thing, the Viking ships.
And there's tension heating up between China and India, apparently.
Whoa, that was. And I didn't get into too much. Apparently, they had called a very temporary truce.
Yeah.
But what I found interesting was it looked really bad there for a couple of days. There was quite a few number of deaths, but these are two nuclear powers.
Yeah. Well, that's the funny thing is they're nuclear powers fighting with sticks.
Yeah.
And so you wonder, I mean, how committed they are to whatever endeavor they're trying to do. Are the Chinese trying to take a little land off the top there, or the?
I read it. I wasn't going to bring it up in today's.
Yeah, I thought I'd mention it because of the China thing. The people are talking about. Well, are we going to get in on India's side? You know, I got apparently JFK negotiated some stuff between India and China back in the day when there was a little kerfluffle.
Yeah.
And so somebody was saying, well, President Trump's totally unequipped to deal with that type of thing or something. I don't think so.
Well, that's according to Bolton's book, which
yeah, exactly.
I saw in our local paper today, there was an editorial written by the local editorial people. They're Trump, they're TDS people, Trump derangement syndrome, totally. And of course, as far as they're concerned, Bolton's book is the nail in the coffin or whatever. And how can anybody follow Trump anymore? And on and on. But it was interesting to see how they bought a lot of the stuff that's in that in the book, you know, kind of hook, line, and sinker. And
I read somewhere that some of his most damaging accusations were, I mean, it's just his opinion about what happened in the room.
Oh yeah, no, that's right. And a lot of it was, I won't call it hearsay, but it was almost as bad as hearsay. And of course,
well, he's hearing it, so that's a witness. But it's all about his interpretation, and I don't have any faith in Bolton's interpretation. Never have. So
no, the guy's a warmonger from hell. I mean, he's just one of the worst neocons. And so his basic philosophy is just bomb the shit out of him.
Exactly.
You know, hit him first and ask questions later. Well, forget the questions.
Yeah.
Forget the questions. Forget the questions. Yeah, that's right. Kill him first and then no questions. China has launched its. Let me just see here. Just one military. Navy ships. Okay, that's the EMP. China launches its final Baidu, I guess is how it's pronounced, satellite to challenge America's GPS. So now they have 35 satellites or whatever it takes to do a GPS system. Ours, of course, is elderly. I mean, it's been around since the late 70s, I think.
Well, isn't Elon putting up a redundant one?
Yeah, another one, right? He is. And his, I think, is going to be like 1,000 satellites or something. Now, again, I don't know, but he's launching them like 100 or 200 at a time.
Yeah.
So whatever, that's going to be like I don't know what that's going to be like. I mean, you have all these little things. Anyway, the China now doesn't have to depend on us anymore. So they have their own GPS system. It'll be kind of interesting to see if we get to use it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you get a GPS, of course they probably won't have all the maps like we do. I've got maps of town.
Yeah.
Go around all GPS-y. Anyway, they said China on Tuesday successfully launched the final one, and so they're going to ditch the use of the U.S.-owned system. State broadcaster CCTV tweeted a video of the launch. And in southwestern Sichuan province, and they talk about the number, the carrier rocket, and so forth. China announced that the launch of this last satellite navigation system has succeeded the whatever it is, so forth and so on. But the bottom line is they're not going to depend on us anymore. So all of their stuff is going to be on their own satellite system. So
good.
Shoot them down.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, that'll be interesting when our Space Force gets up there.
That's right, Space Force. That's right, boy. You think about it, and of course, when Elon gets his 1,000 satellites up there, but what do you do with them? I mean, how do you get them? I mean, how do you spot them and all that stuff?
Yeah, well, what you do is you get the old shuttlecraft from the Spy Who Loved Me. No, was it Moonraker?
Yeah, Moonraker, right?
And with the lasers.
Yeah.
And you go up there and you target them and you just start. Boop, 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 boop,
it's a laser. It's a laser.
Yeah, that's right.
Sharks with lasers. Yeah. Okay, interestingly enough, the U.S. Appeals Court judge orders to dismiss the case against Michael Flynn.
Yeah.
Now, Michael Flynn, for those of you who don't know, was coerced, if you want to call it that, We talked a little bit about this into I won't say he was coerced into lying, but they got him on lying to the FBI.
Well, yeah.
And
they forced a confession, is what
they
they
forced
did.
a confession out of him, right? And so, what was interesting about that, of course, was he was supposed to go to jail for years on this supposed lying or whatever it was. And when you think about it, they obviously duped him into the lying. And of course, when you can do anything. And then of course what they say is, well, you can either go to jail forever, or you can plead.
Right.
You can plead guilty, and we'll just put you away for a little while.
Yeah.
And so, who wouldn't is what it boils down to. So anyway, they finally some judge threw it out. Now, apparently, the Department of Justice is not happy about this. They wanted the Justice Department until last month strongly fought any idea to.
I thought Barr was on board. I thought Barr.
No, but you're right. But apparently, with the way, But I'm talking about the underlings.
Underlings. Well, they don't get to decide.
I don't know. They have sought to Flynn's sentence after more than a year of postponements related to his cooperation in then Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation of Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. And it also Mueller and that crowd opposed his attempt to withdraw his plea.
Well, of course. Look, I mean, look. Anytime, if you're a prosecutor, what you do is you convince yourself that the people that you're prosecuting are guilty.
Okay.
And you don't ever back off of that stance.
No, they're bad people.
That's right. They're bad people and done bad things, and they deserve what they get. And so it doesn't matter if the judge throws it out, then you just go, stupid judge, miscarriage of justice.
Right.
And you convince yourself that the guy's still guilty and whatever. So that's what I expect Mueller and his team to do.
What I'm wondering is when they have the stuff in front of a grand jury, and the grand jury returns a no true bill. What does the prosecutor say then?
Then they can file it themselves, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they probably have that option still. Well, look, if they're taking it to the grand jury, though, they're probably going to abide by that and just call it again, miscarriage of
as
justice.
they say, what's interesting.
You guys didn't get it.
Yeah, you guys didn't get it. Well, what's interesting is they say those prosecutors could indict a ham sandwich.
Yeah, well, everybody.
But if you can't, if in fact the grand jury comes back and says, yeah, you're not getting that
That's
one.
turkey sandwich.
Yeah, that's turkey sandwich, right? You're not going to. I mean, I would think that would be. I mean, why would he even go in there if he?
Well, but see, you're reasonable. That's
okay.
You got to remember the prosecutor is the kid in your class who pointed you out and said, "Little Johnny just kissed little Susie behind the gym, and I want a cookie," and then they got it. And so they live their whole lives like that for whatever reason. I think prosecutors are the kind of people who just never bothered to transgress the law, and so they don't understand how that happens. From their perspective, there's no need to break any laws, and so they have no problem prosecuting it, and
one of the things that I have found out is not only the prosecutors, but I remember one time when I was driving back from California one time, stayed in San Antonio overnight, back when I had cigarettes, I was smoking, went outside early in the morning and was talking to this guy, and he was retired from the retired agent on drug enforcement. And he said, people are scum.
Right.
And I said, what? And he said, yeah. He says, my experience has been that everybody. And I said, but that's the pool you're swimming in.
That's right.
And the simple fact is, yeah.
They
I mean, if you're swimming in a pool with sharks,
scum.
right? Exactly.
You're the scum cleaner.
I said, my experience, and because we were just literally coming back across, and we were stopping at various places, and met the nicest people on the planet. Had zero bad experiences, nothing. Everybody was so nice, and of course, this is southern United States where people are nice. Yeah, and
you just did the double white power symbol.
I know that double white power. Okay, so anyway, but I just thought, time and time again. It's the water you're swimming in.
Yeah.
And I told this to the guy. I said, well, what do you expect?
Yeah.
And so here you got prosecutors, and they are bringing bad guys in, along with the list of all the stuff. And of course, the prosecutor, that's the people who deals with.
Yeah.
Bad people. So,
Well, and we've got some law enforcement stuff this week too. But what else have you got?
Okay. Let me just see here. Law enforcement. Well, one real quick thing that I've got is Bubba Wallace.
Yes.
As you know, apparently he never saw the noose, but there was a noose hanging in his stall, or wherever it was. Now, a couple things to remember. First of all, it was quickly determined it was a hoax. It wasn't a real noose.
Right. Well,
it was a noose-like thing, but it was the rope that you used to pull the garage door down.
Maybe, yeah.
Well, that's what somebody seems to think it was.
Yeah.
And but two things. So they threw it all out. Everybody said forget it. Even though he had, apparently at least for a while, there was 1,000 people that were marching him out there in front.
Oh yeah, they did all that.
Yeah, and we talked about that. But what's interesting is he still says it's still racist
until today.
What?
Yeah, he came. If you can believe a Twitter feed, there's a statement by him as of a couple hours ago where he says we got emotional. We took it at face value, and we're happy that it wasn't an actual event. And he said, but people still do this kind of stuff, so you got to be vigilant.
Okay, because I saw something from a couple hours before that.
Yeah, exactly.
Where he said it's still.
Yeah, he was on Don Lemon, CNN.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and I saw that one too, and he was saying it's a noose.
Right.
It's a noose. And I'm thinking to myself, do you know how hard it is to tie a noose knot? You got to be an expert. You literally have to be an expert to tie a noose knot. It is one of the hardest knots to tie. It's
an actual noose. But I'm saying is
that's what I'm saying.
But it might not have been a noose knot.
Well, it's a loop.
It's a loop.
Right.
When you're a Boy Scout and you're taking knots 101.
Bowline is the king of knots. It's the first one you learn, and it's a loop.
It's a loop. I mean, there must be 30 loops in the knots.
Well, right, but the bowline is the king of. That's the one you tie because it doesn't move. When you grab onto the thing, it doesn't tighten up. It's not a noose.
Okay. Okay.
It's a loop.
Yeah.
And it's a loop that stays in the exact spot where you tied it. And so, I mean, that's if it was that, and that's why they should have just shown a picture of the dang thing. Because if it's that, well, look, then the question becomes, well, is it something that is it a prank that somebody's just trying to tell him, look, well, the next one's going to be a real noose or whatever? But apparently the guy was just assigned the garage the last week, and nobody had checked it, and the FBI's come out and said, hey, the thing's been lying there for 6 months or whatever.
Whatever, yeah.
And so, but I mean, like you said, interesting story about the whole thing. I mean, in the beginning, I thought, well, it's probably just somebody who's actually a fan of his that was trying to sort of help him out, and you make him into a victim there, and then he gets to march to the front of the line. But everybody's figured it all out at this point, and so I think it's a done issue.
Yeah, I think so. So I'm sure it is.
Except for the concept that everybody's thinking to themselves, they got 15 FBI agents down to NASCAR to investigate this one thing, and meanwhile they're tearing down statues in front of the White House, and
I know. And the ones they're doing, they're saying is the one in North Dakota,
Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore, is that next?
Well, yeah. Well, all those people have had some level of cancellation.
They are moving from in front of the Museum of Natural History in New York, I guess. They're moving. Huh?
It might be in D.C., but go ahead.
A museum?
No, you're right. New York.
I think it's the New York Museum of Natural History. They petition, and they're going to move Teddy Roosevelt's.
Right.
So
now,
he's on Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, exactly. But that particular statue is a little bit
right. Well, it does. Yeah, and right. It shows a Native American and a black person. It's kind of
they're like walking behind him on his horse or something.
Yeah.
And so, okay.
All right.
I mean, look, I have no problem with taking down.
Chip those off.
That's it.
No, you don't have to do the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. There's that, and well, look, I have no problem with tearing down a whole bunch of statues. You want to rename a whole bunch of middle schools or elementary schools, whatever it is, Lee, Washington and Lee. I mean, go for it. Knock yourselves out. But Mount Rushmore, I mean, if you're going there, then we might as well go full Koran, no statues, no idols of any kind.
Okay.
I mean, because if you can't have the founders and the people who made the significant differences in the country, then
well, as you say, this is right out of Orwell. I mean, if you erase history, then if history starts every morning, you get up and now it's what are you going to do? What are you going to base your activities on for the day? Well, of course, it comes over the screen.
That's it. Well, yeah, go watch V.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
And you'll see how they do it.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So they have.
Well, there's that, and well, go ahead.
I was going to say, little known fact. It's my understanding, okay, that Mount Rushmore was designed to age, and it's supposed to get better with age before it gets worse.
Okay.
As far as the features are concerned.
Okay.
So
I don't know. They get more human because they get wrinkles or something. I don't know.
something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, look, the North Dakota governor came out and said, "Not on my watch."
Yeah. I guess.
So-
Well, of course, his watch is going to be over.
Well, right, and look, they're not taking orders from the governors.
No.
I mean, if they want to go blow it up, then they're going to go blow it up.
I think isn't there a doorway to get kind of inside of
Oh
it?
yeah, there's a whole network of caves and stuff.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I
you
didn't know
can,
there's a
like walk
network.
out into the eye or something. I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good for a selfie.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Really.
So, but we'll see how far the thing goes. Like we said, is it going to be Rice University? Is it going to be Yale University? Is it what? How far are you going to go? They tore down a statue of an abolitionist in Washington over the weekend.
Yeah, I saw that.
Some guy from Norway who died fighting for the Union. But look, at some level,
Damn Norwegians.
yeah, right. Look, at some level, as we said for this whole time, there's different motivations because they're all different people.
Mm-hmm.
They're literally different people. So, I mean, the rioters in Washington are not the same people as the rioters in New York.
Or in Seattle.
Exactly. And so they're going to have different...
Which, by the way, has
that
gone
is
away,
Washington.
hadn't it?
Huh?
Hadn't the Seattle one sort
The
of gone?
Chaz thing, well, not yet. They've sort of threatened to take it away.
Okay.
But I haven't heard any news of the clearing out. The last thing I saw was they were reinforcing the cement barriers.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay.
some people were
I
dragging
heard that
stuff
they
around.
said that there's some people that refuse to leave, but apparently the governor has come out and said, look, you can protest all you want during the day, but at night you have to go home.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, I'm still waiting for the OK Corral event. I mean, we've had a couple of random one or two people have gotten shot, but what we haven't seen, which is it's surprising to me, and it just shows the reserve of Americans and their unwillingness to use violence unless there's real violence happening. We have 300 million guns in this country,
Right?
And we haven't had one person. Well, we've had a couple people fire one shot in their defense, but we haven't had anybody. I mean, you see the people getting ripped out of their cars,
Right.
and beaten. I mean, I know a lot of people who carry their guns in their cars, and you try to rip them out of their car. A lot of people are getting shot, not just one person. They're shooting everybody, and so I'm waiting for that to happen.
I like the one I like is the Steve Martin movie. Where he says they look at the time, and because he says, "Oh no," and he pulls his gun out, he's in the car, and starts waving it around up and think, "L.A. Story."
Yeah.
And he's just because everybody's starting to. It's the right time,
It's road rage death time.
Yeah, it's like another Star Trek that I loved. Of course, was the one where they're of the body.
Right.
And everybody would walk around like this, and then they would have the one night where they could go nuts. And so, it was kind of interesting. All right. The next item I've got here, let's see, I've got an AI robot cast in the lead role of a sci-fi film. Here's an actual AI robot is going to be the lead character in a film, and the reason is they're thinking about more and more of this. I saw a picture of the robot, and she looks great. I mean, but they said, well, they're having a problem with the coronavirus thing in the studios because people all have to get together. So they were trying to figure out how can we get more robots in here that don't get this.
Yeah, well, good luck with that.
Yeah,
they're not that level. Look, there's so much subtlety.
Her name is Erica.
There's so much subtlety in what actors do. It's hard to imagine that they could do that. That being said,
$70 million they budgeted for this show. For this.
Okay, well, that's some average. I mean, that's nothing. That's not a lot of money for a film.
I remember the first time it was over $1 million.
Yeah,
in the 1960s.
In the 1860s.
Yeah, no, 1960. I think it was Cleopatra went over $1 million or something.
Oh yeah, that one was a huge budget, and they had a gigantic, massive set and everything. But But I say that about the subtleties, and then I'm sitting here talking about the movie V, where the lead character wears a mask the whole time.
The whole time, right.
And he does a fantastic job of expressing the subtleties in the character's understanding of what's happening, the reactions, little tiny turns, and as he speaks, the thing. It's amazing how well he does without being able to use his face.
That is amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And so we'll see. But
So watch the movie. Give us a comment.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's on Netflix, right?
I don't know which one. Oh, you mean V?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think so. So that's good.
Now, speaking of AI and law enforcement, there was recently, they've documented now the very first mistaken identity arrest using AI facial recognition.
I did see that. I saw the headline.
I read the story.
So what was?
So what it was is this is a guy, and apparently the AI pumped out his image and matched it with his driver's license. Somebody who had robbed a store and stolen a few $1,000s worth of watches or something. So they went and picked up the guy, and they arrested him on his property, handcuffed him in front of his family, drove him down to the police station, and held him for 30 hours. In the meantime, they questioned him about the next day after they held him. They questioned him, not beforehand. They questioned him after they threw him in the jail and let him stew there for a while. And he's like, "That's not me." You know, they showed him the pictures, and they're like, when was the last time you were in the store? And blah. And then he had been to the store, I think, but it wasn't him, according to him and according to all the accounts now. And so the interesting thing is, though, that they didn't talk to him before they arrested him. They went and arrested him. Now, allegedly, they had talked to some other people. They had talked to the store owner. They had shown the store owner a lineup of 6 people, 6 black people, and the store owner's like, "Yeah, that's him right there." And I don't know if the store owner's black or white or whatever. Obviously, if you're a different race, it's harder for you to distinguish between the characteristics of people.
They all look alike to me.
Well, that's what, and that's the way that it is. And I'm sure, although there is wider variation amongst Caucasians because we're more prevalent. I mean, there's just wider variation, at least in the database. And so it's not that the AI is racist, which is what they were trying to say there, but maybe the application of it is. Apparently, some of these AI.
Well, why didn't he call an attorney or something?
Well, he did $7,000.
Oh.
And they got it dismissed without prejudice. The prosecutor didn't want to dismiss it with prejudice, which means that they can bring it up again, basically.
But why? How did they exonerate him? He was someplace else?
Yeah, he has an alibi and everything.
Okay.
He was in the car, and I mean, at this point, I think they've determined that it's not him.
Okay.
But the point is that they threw him into jail first. And he's a big black guy. I'm surprised. I mean, luckily for him, he knows the rules, and he went quietly, as opposed to getting the Rodney King treatment upon arrest.
Right.
And so it's just, now, apparently they have adapted their procedures. The good news is, apparently they have recognized that this facial recognition stuff, which, by the way, is not tested for accuracy by the companies. They're doing their own testing at the police station, and they've determined that between 10 and 100 times more likely that you'll get mistaken if you're a POC, if you're a person of color, than if you're a white person.
Right, yeah, I saw that. I did see that.
So it's wildly inaccurate when it comes to other people. And so what they've said is now they're just going to use it for violent crimes, which is all the damn police should be used for anyway.
Right.
So that's good. That's good. Little change there because of the whole thing.
All right. Well, one of the last things I've got. There was some business about J.K. Rowling, which I thought was kind of interesting. But a California college professor is placed on leave after asking an Asian American student to anglicize her name. She complained, and the powers that be in the let's see, San Francisco Bay Area Community College put on leave after asking a Vietnamese American student to anglicize her name because it sounds like a vulgarity in English.
Oh.
And you know what that is.
Yeah, probably.
And so, but I mean, you see it all the time.
Yeah.
And he said, "No, I'm not going to call you that. You need to, because it's kind of an insult." I mean,
yeah, but no, it's not. Look, people have to understand what controls the reality of what you say is your intent. It's not somebody else's subjective interpretation of what you meant.
Well, he said he wasn't going to say the word.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that he can go ahead and say the word, and it's not the word. It's her name.
Right.
and if somebody says, well, I heard you say this horrible cuss word, then he can say, no, that's not what it was. You thought that's what it was, but what I'm saying is her name, and therefore...
Well, she was really upset about being asked to anglicize her birth name and all that kind of stuff.
We've been doing this for decades. I had friends, I've got one of my Korean friends, his name is Chang Ho, and his anglicized name is Greg.
Okay.
And we always just called him Chang Ho. I mean, I didn't even know his name was Greg until years later. And then it was like, why? What? I mean, Greg? I mean, what are you talking about? What's wrong with Chang Ho?
Well, the thing about it is, as you say, the question I ask is this: what do you think about? What's your opinion on the administration putting this guy on administrative leave or whatever it is because he would not call her by her birth name?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first thing is that it's a private institution. Presumably, they can do whatever the hell they want to do. If they want to fire the guy or put him out or whatever.
Let's see, it's the San Francisco Bay Area Community College. So
okay, well, semi-public or
whatever.
But look, you have to. It's just a judgment call. I mean, do you really think the guy was being racist? This racist thing is getting way out of hand.
Oh yeah, totally.
So they had Trump saying "Kung Flu" last week, and everybody's like, "That's racist."
Yeah.
How is that racist? If you hear Kung Flu and you think negatively of Chinese people because of that, that's your problem. You're the racist. You're the idiot.
Well, what's interesting is you think actually more positively if you've ever seen the series Kung Fu.
Well,
the guy was a hero.
Well, no, yeah, well, there's that.
I mean, that's what I think. When they say Kung Flu, I think about David
Carradine.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what I think about.
Look, of course. I mean, or not of course, but just make the not. If something can be interpreted in two ways, one racial and one not, do go with the not. I mean, it's so silly to attribute the flu to the people that that live in the place that came to it. Nobody does that, and I don't think anybody does that. And so, but they're just trying to say, well, like he's racist because he says that, and the whole thing is just far out of hand. So is it racist for this guy to say he's not going to say the F word or whatever it is? No, it's not, because he has a different motivation. Intent controls. They're blacklisting Tina Fey now because
well, you can't say blacklisting.
Yeah.
Well, are you racist?
Yeah, and so exactly. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about.
Go ahead. Hold that thought.
Yeah.
I just watched the movie again called Trumbo. It's on Netflix. Oh, it's a fabulous movie. It's about the blacklisting.
Oh, okay.
And Trumbo is a real guy. He was a screenwriter, very famous. He wrote Roman Holiday, but had to read it under a pseudonym and give it to somebody else.
Oh, okay.
And when it won the Academy Award, this other guy had to walk up and take the award that they had put. And he also wrote another Academy Award winning, and it wasn't until right before he died in the mid-70s that they said, okay, you're off we now acknowledge, here's your award,
right,
and so forth and so on. But what you had to go through on that blacklist business, and it was played by the guy who played it was the same guy who played Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he played Trumbo. Fabulous movie if you get to see it. It's on Netflix. It's free.
Well, yeah. So anyway, they're going overboard. They got Tina Fey. They had some episodes of 30 Rock, I guess, where they did blackface, and apparently they're making fun of blackface, making fun of people who are.
It's a comedy.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at. Intent is what controls. Intent has to control, because if it doesn't control, then I can say that whatever you're saying that I don't like is offensive to me. And in fact, if somebody tries to tell me that intent doesn't control, to me that's offensive. So exactly. So there you go. The bottom line is that it's somebody's it's their personal intent that controls the reality of it all. It's not what you heard. It's not what you can make out of it. It's what they meant it to be that is the reality. And this is, a couple of positive things in law enforcement real quick. I know we're over time. Rand Paul apparently introduced a bill to ban no-knock warrants. at the federal level.
Okay.
So we'll see if that goes anywhere. I haven't heard anything more about it.
I don't know how often the feds do no-knock warrants.
I would say probably more often than anybody else, but
Really?
well, yeah,
I
because
think the local
they're
SWAT
just
teams would do
heavy-handed.
that.
Well, yeah, that's true too. Like I said, I don't know that. I'm just saying that given a situation, if the feds would be more likely because they're always more heavy-handed than the state police. But we'll see how far it goes, where it goes. Another one: Colorado is trying to end qualified immunity.
Yes. Good.
So we'll see.
They're not the only ones. There's some other state too I saw was going to try and do it.
Okay, so that's good. Let's see. Okay, well, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
All right. I'll tell you about this conspiracy thing that we debunked this week as we go out here. Let's see if the boys have anything to say. Nothing there. Scott says we need to wear aluminum foil hats. Probably.
Yeah.
So, all right. There was somebody I liked tweeted this thing. They thought it was a conspiracy. This woman. They apparently, if you Google any 3-digit number.
Yeah.
And the words new cases.
Yeah.
That some location will come up.
Right.
And it'll say like 247 new cases in Burlington, Vermont, or something like that. And they were all freaking out because they were like, oh my God, it must be a conspiracy because any number works.
Right. Well, that's because when you figure that there's 3,300 counties in the United States, and there's some COVID-19 cases in each one.
Right. And they've been reporting every day for 100 days.
Right. Exactly. So I mean, so the idea that out of a 3-digit number, of which there are 999 of them.
Exactly.
And you've got 3,300 counties to choose from.
Yeah.
You can bet that one of those numbers is going to say.
That's exactly right. You know, our personal mathematician, which we have now on staff.
Okay.
We have a mathematician on staff calculated that you'd only need to have 7,000 selections for there to be a 50% chance.
Okay.
Of you getting every number, and with 10,000, I think he had 100,000 selections. There's a 99.9999 chance that all the numbers are taken.
Okay.
Obviously, so anyway, all right. These tracks brought to you by Kevin McLeod. Thanks so much, Kevin. We appreciate everything, and hope everybody stays safe out there in the universe. We'll be back on Sunday, the 28th. So, I'm Counselor Curtis. This has been the Jimmy Doane Show.